would agree it might be unusual to use that word often, but they in fact did use those words often, correct?
Yes, I think she did use it in hyperbole at times.
And that's a lot of how Shanna Gardner speaks from the messages you reviewed, correct?
I did not review every single message she ever wrote. However, I would argue that the frequency in which she spoke about Jared was much different than the one-off messages that you've indicated here.
Prefacing your testimony with you haven't reviewed all the messages, correct?
Not in her entire phone, just during the time period.
Now, a lot of the other hyperbole she would use is talking about killing herself, correct?
I don't know. I didn't see any messages.
You never saw any messages about her killing herself?
No, I did not.
Okay. And you know that these two women, in fact, I noticed in some of the state's exhibits, when they talk about killing Jared, much of it is with an LOL followed or some other face emoji. You saw those, correct?
There are a lot of those, yes.
In fact, they like to rip Jared.
Absolutely.
Okay. And there's also comments about, there was that section with the alleged co-conspirator, KJ, and then her communicating with Sue. Excuse me. Another woman by the name of Susan Lee, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you never spoke to Susan Lee, did you?
I believe one of my colleagues did.
Okay. Are you aware that there are no interviews or statements in the discovery having to deal with law enforcement speaking to Susan Lee?
No.
Okay. Did you read a report by Susan Lee where an officer spoke to Susan Lee?
No, I did not.
So she is, as you heard Ms. Stifler argue, an alleged co-conspirator, correct?
I believe she was referring to Kim Jensen.
Well, in addition to another individual, correct? This woman. Do you recall that?
I thought she was referring to Kim Jensen.
So you're the lead detective in this case, and you have text messages where they're allegedly looking for a hitman, and they call and they're texting someone. You got it right there, black and white, that they're texting a potential suitor for this hitman, and you never go and talk to the person who is the alleged person who they went to go looking for a hitman?
I believe at the time that we were trying to locate her, her phone number had changed and we didn't have a good address for her. So we were not able to contact her at the time during the messages.
Okay, but just a minute ago you said that you believe one of your fellow officers interviewed her. So now you can't find her?
I need to go back and check my notes to confirm. I did think that someone did have a conversation with her, but I would need to reference that.
Do you have your notes here today?
No, I do not.
You knew you were testifying in a capital death penalty case and you didn't bring your notes?
I brought some notes, yes, but in reference to the testimony that I knew I was going to give.
Well, you knew you were going to testify about Susan Lee, right?
More in reference to Kim Jensen.
But you knew you were going to talk about Susan Lee, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't bring any notes having to do with Susan Lee?
No, I did not.
And you can't tell Judge Kite in any way, shape, or form whether any law enforcement officer from Jacksonville Police Department, or Jacksonville Beach Police Department, or any of the other cooperating officers in this investigation, which included multiple law enforcement agencies, ever spoke with Susan Lee?
As you stated, there are lots of agencies and there are lots of people who are helping with this investigation. I cannot tell you right now whether or not she was talked to or whether that was in a report. That's something that I would need to look into.
Okay.